This is the Making Noise podcast.
Yeah, I moved there for my master's and then I stayed just because I liked it.
Right.
But it's so funny because even before my sister, I have a twin sister, and she lived there way before I did. She moved there right after high school to go to school. And every time I would go there, I was like, man, I don't know why people can live here. And then it like grew on me, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll move there. And then I moved there and just loved it.
Right.
I think that there's just something so intimidating about it for me that I don't know. I thought it wouldn't have a good effect on me, but it did. Like it was,
Do you think it was just unfamiliarity sort of thing, or?
Yeah, I think it was just because it was totally different than what I was used to, you know? But yeah, because where I went to my undergrad was like here, like pretty rural-ish, but yeah. I'm sorry. What was your question?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You're totally fine, man. This is, I want you to talk as much as possible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can do that.
Yeah. So what was something about moving to New York City, about living in the city that you wouldn't have known about until you lived there?
You wouldn't have known about,
or at least understood. It's like people can sit there and research online, like go on Reddit or whatever, and be like, what's it like to live in New York City and stuff, and but
yeah, I think that's a tough question, but it's a good question. I mean, I think that there's like so much, just like there's like this there's a massive tourist industry there, like tourist industry. And there's just something that you don't understand about a lot of the architecture and stuff. And even besides the Empire State Building and stuff like that, just like looking at all the rivers and things, there's nothing that can like encapsulate that sort of thing. And then you like start to lose appreciation for it because you're around it all the time, and then you like forget about it. And then you're like, yeah, I've never gone to any of these places. Like people they come to you, they're like, visiting New York, and they're like, where should I go? Like, what should I do? And then you think about it, and you're just like, I don't even know. I don't go to any of the spots that people go to. But I think you definitely get an appreciation, at least for me, of like different food for sure. That was something that I never, before I moved to New York, I didn't really know a lot about food, and I was just like not a big, I just kind of, I didn't really explore that sort of thing. People talk about it, all the different food in New York, but it's amazing. And even you'll like read in the book, like, you can go to all these different places for all this different food, and that's literally how it is. Like if you go to the East Village, it'll be like, like Indian restaurant, and then like, Mexican restaurant, all right next to each other, just like different, Thai restaurant, like literally like within the same 100 feet.
Right.
And that sort of thing, I don't know, you take it for granted after like living in it for a while. But at first it's like overwhelming. You can eat, if you lived in New York for like 5 years, you could eat at a different place every night and still not hit all of them. There's just that many, So that I would definitely say, like, the food was, and it like just opened my mind to like different cuisine and stuff like that, and like different ways to eat, and like different styles of eating. Like did you ever have hot pot before?
Hot pot.
It's basically like,
I don't know.
Basically like you get all these different meats and like vegetables and stuff, and you can and then there's this broth in the middle, and that's a hot pot, and you just like dip the meat in, and like, but it's very interactive, so if you're there with 5 or 6 other people, you have to be talking to people. You don't just like have your plate and have your dish, and then it's like so individual that way, so you're just like eating your dish. But with the hot pot, you have to be interacting. You're like, oh, pass me this, pass me that, and then you're forced to interact with other people, which I think is really cool. I love that style of eating because it's just more interactive. It's not as like singular. You're like, oh, how's your thing, or how's that? It's more like, oh, we all try all of this.
Well, that's a lot like what we had in Spain. In Valencia.
Totally.
When we go out to eat, we'd have the tapas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was always a round of like potatoes chopped into cubes with some ketchup and mayo,
Yeah.
which I was like, I don't want that. But there was, I think, calamari and
Yeah.
I forget what else they served and stuff, but it was always like the family style sort of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone picking at the same bowl.
Which is great, I think. It's like, I don't know, because then it's, I don't know, you get to, well, one, you get to try more stuff, you're like, you're forced to like try everything if you want to, but then there's just like a better social aspect for it, it's not as like isolating. Not saying that like eating, individual portions is isolating, but it's just different. But I don't know, I love eating like that. I think it's yeah, it's just more fun and brings up conversation, and it's just like, and also if there's something that's like if there's like a new person there, it kind of like is a good way to like break the ice,
That's
getting
really
like,
good.
yeah, this is getting like deeply psychological with eating food and stuff, but that, I think about it because it's, I don't know, it's and again, in New York there's so much stuff like that, just like the variety of different ways to eat and different flavors and stuff. It's nuts.
No, I really like what you just mentioned though about introducing someone new to a group of people through that sort of format of eating.
Yeah, totally.
That social communal style of like having a meal together. And I think you're right when you said having your own dish. It's so much. It's too personal.
Yeah.
Which that's not a bad thing, but at the same time, it is like even just having conversation in that setting. The question is usually brought up of so how's your burger? Like you get a very specific question about what you're eating, and then people just sort of listen about that, as opposed to everyone being like, oh wow, the seasoning on these is fantastic.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And it's just, I don't know, I found that it's just more enjoyable. Like, I think that because sometimes I'll even be because my sister loves hot pot, and she'll always bring me to these big gatherings with like 10 people or whatever. And I usually don't know everyone there. So it's nice for me too, rather than just like sitting there and like not feeling like, just feeling like a little isolated. It does the opposite. It just makes me feel like I'm more part of like what's happening and everything.
Right. Brings it out in you a little bit.
Yeah, and it's delicious too. And it's more fun, You're just like, you're doing more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like, it's more adventurous. There's not totally clear what's happening. It's not like, oh, you're gonna finish everything on that plate, and that's what's gonna happen. It's like, no, you can try to put this together and and it comes with tons of little sauces and stuff too. It's like, yeah, you got to try it. Hot pot. They definitely have them in Chicago. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm totally about that. I've noticed too, living in a city, kind of like what you were just saying about being in New York, is there's so many options for food, and it actually makes me want to go out to eat more. But like, what a crappy time for that to happen.
I know.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, because when I moved back here, I like looked at the map and I was like, I opened Google Maps and then just put in food. It was like 8 p.m. and there was like nothing open.
Oh god.
It was like Thursday and I was just like, oh my god. The other thing about New York is that, and this isn't even something that like people talk about. It's something that you just realize. People just eat later and stay up later. It's really interesting. Like, I would say like because when I worked at the restaurant, the dinner rush was from like 7:30 to like 9 or 9:30.
Nuts.
When like most places is not like that.
Yeah.
Like the dinner rush starts like 5:30, 5. Or some people even eat dinner at 5:30, and I'm just like, it's still light out. How are people doing this? But I got so used to that. You just get used. I don't know. I guess people work later, and then they like, I don't know. It's weird, but it's I don't know. That's just how it is. Totally different though.